Okay, welcome to Buderheim Town Council meeting, Wednesday, May 10th. Would someone from council be willing to read the acknowledgement? Mr. Rain.
Today, I acknowledge that the town of Buderheim is located on Treaty 6 territory and the homeland of the Métis Nation of Alberta. The town of Buderheim honors the first peoples of this land. We recognize that we stand upon land that carries the footsteps of Cree, Métis, Blackfoot, amongst other nations who have been here for thousands of years. Therefore, the town of Buderheim has an inherent responsibility to foster healthier relationships with First Peoples and further the calls to action as outlined in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
Thank you for that, Councillor Wayne. So we call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. Is there any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda? CAO Phyllis?
I have nothing, sir.
Okay, anything from council? Okay, need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented then? Councillor Dane?
I motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you for that motion. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? Haven't heard none. Call for a vote. All in favor? And the motion's carried. So we can move on to confirmation of minutes. The April 19th meeting, we need a motion from council to confirm those minutes. Councillor George.
I make a motion that council confirm those minutes for April 19th, 2023.
Thank you for that motion, Councillor George. Any comments, concerns with that motion from council? Haven't heard none. Call for a vote. All those in favor? And the motion's carried. And now we need a motion for April 27th special council meeting. Deputy Mayor.
I make a motion that we adopt the minutes of April 27, 2023 special council meeting minutes.
Thank you for that motion, Deputy Mayor. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion from council? Haven't heard none. Call for a vote. All those in favor? And the motion's carried. And the other April 27th number 2 meeting, we need a motion. Councillor Ashley.
I motion to adopt the minutes from the April 27th, 2023 special council meeting number 2 meeting minutes.
Thank you for that motion, Councillor Ashley. Any comments, questions, or concerns from council with that motion? Haven't heard none. Call for a vote. All those in favor? And the motion's carried. Now we can move on to council priorities, information requests. We'll start with Deputy Mayor Judy.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Councillor Dana.
Nothing at this time.
Councillor Len.
Nothing at this time.
Councillor Ashley.
Nothing at this time.
Councillor Wayne.
Yes, I do. Is there going to be, or when will they be there, outhouses for the skate park and campground? Are they there yet, or they are? Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I sent an email, I don't know, about a week ago in regards to getting a mic stand for the hall. Is that happening? Perfect. Thank you. That's all. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Wayne. Councillor George.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. And staying with Councillor George, do you have any program requests?
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Wayne.
Nothing at this time.
Councillor Ashley.
Nothing at this time.
Councillor Len.
Nothing at this time.
Councillor Dana.
Nothing today. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Councillor Dana. Deputy Mayor Judy.
Nothing at this time.
Okay, so we're finished with priorities. We can move on. Request for decision 8.1 final operating budget. CAO Phyllis, you have the floor.
Certainly, sir. If it please you, your worship, we are going to go through a quick slideshow. As soon as Sherry brings it up on the screen.
So a trip down memory lane from last fall.
There it is right there. Do we share it, Sherry? Or yeah, share it. No, I don't see the share button. So while they're working on that, I'm just going to start going through this. And how do you, okay.
Good. There, this one. Good.
Look.
Beginning, I just went down. It's on here.
Okay, so we have our strategic priorities.
that you've all agreed to. Our municipal services, of course, that we always have to try and find a balance between tax increases, municipal services, and the perfect world. And we are continuing to work on that, as many municipalities are. Our assumptions in the funding, we haven't made any other ones than what Sharon had provided earlier, I believe. The operating budget changes from November 16th. I believe Sharon has reviewed this, or Rob has reviewed that with you guys as well. Not a lot of change. The projected increase is the biggest part. So we are anticipating a $54,000 increase in collection from municipal taxation. The revenue non-tax has stayed pretty consistent. It's gone down a little bit. Our operating expenses went up, and it looks like a 5.2% increase in funding from taxation. The staff have gone through and made what changes they could, that they could see. We're still going to look at other things we can try and do a little bit more in the next week. Our services still are very efficient and effective, and as cost, or working on saving as much money as we can. We want to do a great job for our residents, keeping in mind the revenue stream and tax impacts on everybody. And there is only one ratepayer, so we are conscious of what we're putting in the budget. But what does this mean to the average household? So on a $214,000 residence, an assessed property, it looks like the increase will be $3.21 a year. But the residential assessment increased significantly and our residential assessment increased by $5 million. And large part of this is possibly due to completions of a new home and our renovations, and possibly the sale of homes. I haven't had opportunity to do individual property assessment review to determine where the increases have come from for residential, and to be able to pinpoint specifically what caused the increase. So I'll be hoping to do that this week and be able to give you a better report on that next week. I know there have been renovations completed, and there is a house that was fully completed that was added into the assessment roll. So hopefully I can give you some better information on that next week.
CAO Phyllis, you're talking just residential, not the entire assessment, right?
That's correct.
Okay. so
Just
that-
residential only.
That doesn't include the hemp facility then, right? Okay,
No.
Thank you. We're just talking about the screen sharing.
We'll get better. I'm sorry. This is a brand new system for me. I think if we go back to the Zoom meeting and share from there.
You want me to go there?
Go there.
There?
No, where you were.
What?
I use it when I go to go.
You gotta click on the screen then.
Okay, no, share screen where it's green. No, that one. There you go.
Thank you very much.
So as you can see, the residential assessment has gone up by 5,244,000 on a $214,000 assessed house. That's $3.21 a year, which doesn't seem like a huge amount, but the assessments have gone up. So it could be a $200 impact on taxation. So we need to look at that and see what we can do prior to next week.
And like you mentioned, you're going to double check those figures, right?
Yeah, I want to go through, I haven't looked at the individual assessments. So historically, where I come from, we can see every property, what the assessment was last year, what the assessment is this year, and maybe identify some of the huge increase, because that seems like a big increase in assessment. So we want to look at that. And failing that, then we want to look at maybe being able to adjust some of the revenues. We've talked about disposing some of our assets this year in equipment and disposal. So that might increase some of our revenues, other revenue that would knock down our taxation. So I really want to, before second and third reading, take a good look at that and make sure we've done as tight as we can be.
Councillor Wayne?
That at 5 million, you said it is risen by $5.2 million. Does that include any, just residential, or is it industrial as well? Is it commercial? Is it?
That was just the residential that I identified by looking at the tax rate bylaw from this year and the tax rate bylaw from last year.
Yeah, the Councillor George, go ahead.
You mentioned selling off some of our assets. What assets would that be?
Dennis has a list that he's looking at. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, through to Councillor Campbell. So that's some of the assets are the riding mower that, that we are replacing with this year. So that one's going to go to auction. I think we identified the fire truck was another one, the old gravel truck, the one tractor. So there's estimated value at an auction, total assets roughly around 50 to 60,000. So that's what we're looking at, and we'll be bringing that forward to council. Hopefully next meeting, perhaps the one right after.
That being said, what is it going to cost us to replace them?
Those assets have already been replaced, and the mower this year has already been budgeted for under MSI capital, so it's already been paid for.
But the gravel truck has not.
The gravel truck is so that's the old one, Councillor Campbell, like the very, very old one. It's been sitting in the yard since long before I came here. So there is very little value to that one. I'm not sure if you know which one it is. It's that old yellow
I
one.
know.
Yeah.
And the tractor, which tractor?
The John Deere, the one that we used to use for the side mower.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Councillor George. Yeah, so I look forward to you reviewing that assessment, because it sounds like that might be the whole assessment. Because if you lump in the hemp, I could see that number being that high, but like you said, you're gonna look at it. So I think we can move on from that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Now can you click me? So just to recap, our objectives are always for delivering balanced and fiscally responsible operating and capital budgets. We want to reflect the programs and services required to meet the resident businesses and industry needs. Our commitment to safety. This budget supports the maintenance of our capital investments, aligns to council's strategic priorities, and retains fiscal sustainability both in the short and the long term.
And anybody have any further questions? Move on to the next section, I guess. Okay.
Just gonna quick go over, not going over the capital budget. It was passed earlier. So just as an update, we were notified that 2 projects, the grant funding was denied on them. So we haven't canceled the project. We were just looking for different revenue sources for them. And that's about it.
Do we know which ones they were?
The kitchen at the community center and
The floor at the arena.
the mud jacking at the arena.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on those points on the capital budget? Councillor Wayne?
they're still in here in the capital budget? They're gonna stay in there until such time? Is that?
So we will leave them in, and what we're developing, and I've talked to Dennis about it, is called the multi-year capital infrastructure plan. So we'll start putting and compiling project statements for all of these projects so that we always have them. We can bring priorities to council. We don't want to cancel them, but every year at budget time, we'll go through them with council. You'll tell us what your priorities are balanced with our priorities and what our residents need, and it might just be deferred. But we plan on doing them if we can find the revenue for them this year.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, CAO Phyllis, and thanks for the question, Wayne. Just a question on that mud jacking. Is that a safety issue, the mud jacking?
Mr. Mayor, no, it was identified when we did the assessment on the arena a couple of years ago. That doesn't play any structural role in the arena right now. It's more of a safety hazard than it is in terms of trip hazard. So we're going to try and shave a little bit of that down with our own concrete machine and do what we can with it. And I think all of us know we put carpet there last year just to keep it smooth as we could. So.
Okay, thanks. Mr. George.
With the upgrades in the kitchen, what was it that we were going to be doing in the kitchen?
Mr. Mayor, through Councillor Campbell, that was the oven and the stove. We were going to replace that.
That's the old stove that was there since creation, right?
Okay. It's been there for quite some time and it was identified to be replaced. We tried getting the funding under the CCBF and were unsuccessful for that initiative, but we're going to look for different sources as.
Yeah, I think that's something that should be a priority. Yeah.
Thank you. So we're moving along with this, or are we?
We'd ask council to approve the budget.
Okay, so we're approving the final operating budget as presented, and then the next one is the first reading of the tax rate bylaw, right? Okay, so I'm looking for a motion from council for the final municipal operating budget. Deputy Mayor,
I make a motion that town council approve the 2023 final municipal operating budget as presented.
thank you for that motion. Any comments, questions, or concerns from council with that motion? So I have a question. So the number was 5.2% or something like that. If you find during your analysis that there's a way that we could maybe buy that percentage down a bit, does this have to come back then, or we do that under the tax rate bylaw?
There would be a tax rate bylaw presented for second reading as amended.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any other comments, questions, or concerns from council with the motion? Haven't heard none, call for a vote. All those in favor? And any opposed? And the motion's carried. Thank you. So we move on to 8.2 tax rate bylaw. CAO Phyllis, you have the floor again.
The tax rate bylaw shows a nominal increase from 9.5 for mill rate to 9.515. And as we've discussed during the budget, we will be looking for ways to shave that mill rate down a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. So I'm looking for a motion from council for the first reading. Deputy Mayor.
I make a motion that the town bylaw, pardon me, 03/2023, a bylaw to authorize the 2023 taxes for the town of Buderheim and given first reading. Is that what you're looking for?
Yep, the tax rate. Yep. Thank you for that motion. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? Okay, call for a vote. All those in favor? And the motion's carried. So now we're looking for, do we gonna do background on 8.3 or we just go for a motion right away? CAO Phyllis?
So the Alberta ATB financial requests that council pass a borrowing bylaw every year for the town's line of credit. This will only impact our indebtedness if we are actually using it at year end.
Yep, perfect. So I'm looking for a motion from council for the second reading. Councillor Wayne,
The town council give first reading to the bylaw that will authorize the sorry,
interject a
next one,
second.
sorry, I was the wrong one. The town council gives second reading to bylaw 02-2023, a bylaw to incur indebtedness by the issuance of a line of credit.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Wayne. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? I had asked a question last time and I wasn't 100% sure. So if we do dip into this line of credit, does that count against the borrowing of the town? You know, because like right now we're at a certain, we're about like middle of the pack for municipalities our size in our region. And if you were to perchance have to take something on line of credit, does that count against us there?
Only at end of year when we do financial statements. So if
Okay.
we have to use 20,000 of our borrowing
Mhm.
and we pay it off, then it has no impact.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any other comments, questions, or concerns from council? Okay, haven't heard none. Call for a vote. All those in favor? And that motion's carried. Now we need a third reading motion. Councillor George.
I make a motion that town council give third reading to bylaw 02-2023, a bylaw to incur indebtedness by the issuance of a line of credit.
Thank you for that motion, Councillor George. Any comments, questions, or concerns from council? So that's our lifeline. Hopefully we never have to use it. Well, we got it there. So I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? And the motion's carried. So everybody wants to watch the hockey game. 8.4 quarterly management report. CAO Phyllis, you have the floor.
So Sharon has done a great job on managing our finances. She always does. So she has done the summary. Our operations are on track. Our reserves balances are 1.299 million. Our bank account balance is 1.329. We have used zero of our line of credit. The total debenture payments for the fire hall and the 2017 street improvement program are 93,000. And after council, the quarterly management report will be published to the Town of Buderheim website. And she has some enclosures for you. The statement of income, right now, we show that we're at a deficit. At this time, it's very early. We haven't even issued tax notices yet, so that will go away quite quickly. And she is here to answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you. I do have a question. You mentioned what we have debentures for. I didn't hear the wheel loader on there. I think there's a debenture for the wheel loader, is there not?
No.
Or, okay, so it's just the two things then. Okay, perfect. Thanks. Any other questions from council? Okay, looking for a motion for the receive as information first quarter management report. Deputy Mayor.
I make a motion that we, that as of March 31st, 2023, Town of Buderheim first quarterly management report be received for as information as presented.
Thank you for that motion. Any comments, questions, or concerns from council with that motion? Okay, haven't heard none. Call for a vote. All those in favor? And the motion's carried. Now we move on to mayor and council committee reports. Looking for a motion from council to accept that as information. Dana.
I motion that we accept the mayor and council committee reports as information.
Thank you for that motion. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? Okay, haven't heard none. Call for a vote. All those in favor? And the motion's carried. Correspondence and information items. I don't have anything at this time. So we'd be looking for a motion to go out of the public session. Councillor Dana,
I motion that we go into public session.
thank you for that motion. And then we'll need a motion to go into the closed session. Councillor Len. Thanks for that motion. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? Call for vote. All those in favor? And Councillor George, you're in favor? Yeah. Okay, so we are now in closed session. Okay, we're back into the public session now, and I believe we have a little bit of business to complete. Deputy Mayor Judy, are you making a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we let Chief Administrative Officer Phyllis Forsyth be authorized to sign the memorandum of agreement between Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridors and the town of Buderheim for Alberta Municipal Water Wastewater Partnership Reservoir and Pump Station Grant.
Thank you for that motion. That was a mouthful. Any comments, questions, or concerns with that motion? CAO Phyllis, you're biting off lots to chew in their second week on the job. Thank you for your help, everyone. No other questions, comments, and I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? And the motion's carried. And we need one more motion. Councillor Wayne.
It's 8 o'clock. I make a motion to go home and watch a television channel that has a hockey game on it.
Thank you, Councillor Wayne.
One of the most efficient meetings that I've had. The next good job. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Thanks, Len.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take that as, yeah.
All in favor, all in favor of the motion, and the motion's carried and the meeting's complete. Thanks, Len. Landing on a positive note.
Yeah.